Today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I am excited to be here with you all today. We have with us Sharon D. Brown. How are you, Sharon?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I am well too, now that you're here to help us with some whoosh. We need some of those moments in our lives, and we have Sharon that's going to talk to us about how important it is to have self-care. Many times we take care of everyone else, but at the end of the day, how do we take care of ourselves? We're going to learn that on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Grab your virtual seats and make sure that you share the broadcast, tag your friends. And I would say everyone, just share it on your platforms, because I was trying to determine who should really be watching today. Who do you think should be watching today, Sharon?
Everyone.
Yeah. And I'm big on like niching it down to like one specific person, and you do this, and that's a big thing that I teach. But in this case, I genuinely believe that everyone can benefit from just understanding the importance of self-care.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, me too. So in a nutshell, what are you going to be talking about today so people can kind of get there as they're grabbing their seats, can get their thoughts right?
Yeah, just pretty much what self-care is, why it's so important, and that it really touches us in every part in our lives. And so when we're taking care of ourselves, we can elevate ourselves on a personal level, and especially when it comes to our community and in whatever job or work that we're doing.
Oh, yeah. Did y'all hear that? So you already should be putting some, you know how you go to spoken word events and they do like that? There you have it. Drop the mic. It's already getting ready to go down right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So we're going to take a commercial break, and then I'm going to come back and formally introduce Sharon to you all and get started with today's episode. We'll be right back after this commercial break. So Mackenzie's helping me backstage, so I am thinking.
I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
And we're talking with Sharon D. Brown about how important it is to have self-care. Sharon is actually someone that, let me read this because I want to read exactly how you have it here. You promoted yourself as the #1 Self-Caregiver Authority after experiencing some personal, stressful, and challenging things both personally and professionally. And now you're more like curious and want to investigate more as to what makes us well mentally, physically, and even financially, and definitely spiritually. So I am so pleased to have you here with us today on the Kim Jacobs Show.
Well, thank you. Most definitely, I'm honored to be here as well. And so, yeah, most definitely.
So when we talk about self-care, I wanted to find out, just not a book definition, but what is your definition of self-care?
Yeah, for me, when I look at self-care, it's all of those ways that we cultivate ourselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, and even financially. And so I have what I call like the 4 pillars of self-care, and that is self-awareness, sitting in silence, deep rest, and action and movement. And the self-awareness piece is the largest piece. That's the introspection, the revelations, the insights, the self-reflection. And it takes the other three in order to help cultivate that. And the self-awareness is the biggest part of us, and it's also the part of us where we struggle the most too, because it's how we think and see ourselves, and how we think or see ourselves kind of goes into action. So we can think and see ourselves in a different way, our actions can be different as well.
That is something. I hope you're writing a book on that philosophy, because I've heard self-care as, things like take care of ourselves before we take care of others. But we always hear the airplane analogy. We can't even help
Mhm.
our passenger that may need assistance if we're passed out. So if we don't take care of ourselves in a lot of different regards, then we experience burnout, and ultimately everyone suffers because we're not being our best selves. And I believe that I wrote a book as well about extreme balance makeover. And part of what I talk about is those things. We can't be any good to anybody else if we can't do what we are able to do to take care of ourselves first. It's not selfish though, is it, from your perspective?
It's not selfish at all. I think that some kind of way in our society is made to look that way because we're always talking about giving.
Mhm.
But also, when we're talking about being vessels of God, we need to be able to give to ourselves first. And when we tune into ourselves, then we can truly be able to give. Because if not, then it's almost like a cycle starts. It's like if we're taking care of someone or supporting someone, then it's wear and tear on our mind, our body, our spirit, and even impact us financially.
Right.
And then somebody end up having to take care of us, you know? And so this is where the self-care stops, because it allows you to be able to truly see, are you truly helping the person in the way that they need to be helped? Because, there are some other things that kind of go into why we're helping others so much, until we can stop them for their blessings as well. So
Wow.
that's another reason why we focus so much on being a self-caregiver.
Wow. I love that philosophy, and even how you put it in a spiritual perspective, that if we can focus on being the vessel that God wants us to actually be, then we're more open to being able to care and handle some of the things that he's assigned to us. And I know that's not exactly how you said it. You're like, girl, you summarizing over there. I've said it my own
No,
way.
I love it. I love it. Yes, yes.
Now I hear some kind of crackling in the mic when I don't know, can you hear it over there? When you talk, so
No,
just
I
say
don't.
something.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah, every time you start talking, it's like a crackling. But as long as we can hear the points, Mackenzie, can we hear everything okay? Let me know backstage if everything's a go or if we need to make some adjustments. But today, everybody, look, we're talking to Sharon D. Brown, and already she's deep dived into self-awareness, how important it is for us to understand how we can more know about ourselves before we can start helping other people. And sometimes I think people, Sharon, when I think about it, I think people lack self-awareness in a lot of regards, not just in self-care, but in just straight oblivion. I don't, and I personally think sometimes I'm in that category myself. So I think we're all in that category. Is that possible that sometimes it's like, la,
It
la, 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 la. It's like this was happening, that's going on. It's like I'm just wasn't even self-aware of these things.
You sound like me. This has made me even dive deeper into that because of the fact it's almost like put it like this, God really made us well. He made us, just so well. So much until we can function in a way where if there's a part of us that's hurting or something that we just can't handle, it would hide itself from ourselves. And
Mm.
so you may have heard it called the shadow part. And it's okay for it to protect us. However, it's never good for it to protect us over the long run, because anything that gets suppressed, it doesn't allow us to really be who we are destined to be, and it blocks us as well. And so this is where our own self-awareness come into play. And it can be, just almost anything. It can be like how we could have interpreted something. It could be definitely an experience, and we were not even aware of it because our internal self, our internal resources, into one extent, would try to protect it. And so this is where we're not aware. Like, we can probably see it in someone else, but it's
Right.
almost hard for us to see it in others. But the gift that we do have is that our interactions with others, I don't call it triggers, but I call it activations. But when we're activated, even though we may not like it and the experience may not be pleasing, but we need that so that we can unfold, so that we can move forward.
That is so beautifully said. And when we take, I'm going to take a 2 minute like kind of commercial break thing here and play a video from Ivan with majorpt.com, because I want you to find some earphones or earbuds or something that might be helpful to you, because it's staticky and we can't really hear what's
Oh,
happening.
wow. Okay.
So you look great and you sound great, and what you're saying, I can decipher what you're saying, but I'd rather it be that we can really fully, really fully hear. It's sounding okay, but to have you maybe get some earpods or earphones or something, because it's not as clear. But this is some great information, everybody. I'm going to remove you from the screen for a second so you can get started on that. Uh, what Sharon D. Brown is saying is some prolific information that if we can be self-aware, just taking that first step of being self-aware and identifying where are we having some challenges and why are we not focusing on ourselves properly, what's the trigger, the causes of some of those things. That's something that she's talking about today, how important self-care is. We cannot take care of other people if we can't take care of ourselves. So everything that she's already said is just such a eye-opening lesson to be learned from Sharon D. Brown. And we're going to be talking throughout this hour with her on self-awareness and how important that really, from her perspective, is the largest piece of the equation. So she's saying, hey, if you can master self-awareness, then you got something special happening here. And so I'm going to put how you can stay connected with Sharon as well. And what we will do is when we come right back after this commercial break, we're going to get to hear a lot more from her. But if you're already benefiting from this and sharing the broadcast, just put a comment in the section. Let us know that you're here with us and that you'll be tuning in throughout the rest of the broadcast. Let me see. I see you, Cool Gamer. Thank you so much for being here today. And you're here for all the tips as well. Thank you, Mackenzie, for your comment. Again, I'll put up here how you can stay connected with Sharon D. Brown. Instagram, I am Sharon D. Brown. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll have Sharon right on the screen. All right. So we'll be right back. Here, I'm doing the Mackenzie
number, and you just need help to make that transformation. My name is Ivan Jacobs from Major PT, and allow me to be of service to you as your private personal trainer. In my personal case, I've lost over 100 pounds and I've kept it off. I have made a total transformation, and now we help other people make transformations just like that. What we offer is mobile personal training, where we drive out to your location or we meet up at a location to exercise together, as well as nutrition coaching and habit coaching. We guarantee results or your money back. We understand how important it is and how difficult it can be trying to navigate nutrition and fitness alone. So work with us to make your transformation possible. Our slogan is train you once and train you forever. We don't hope to keep you as clients forever. We hope to inform you so that you know what to do in your own day-to-day life. The workout program is custom tailored to you based off of gym frequency, assessments, and personal preference. We focus on progressively overloading in a safe and proper manner. We can meet up at the gym or your own home. I understand the importance of convenience and will work with what you want. Through the use of applications, you will have access to see the entire program from your phone. You can contact me, track your weight, and add personal goals all within the app. We will help you develop and maintain healthy habits that support your fitness goals for the long term. Together, we can identify areas for positive change and develop strategies to help you stay on track. Nutrition is a crucial component of achieving any fitness goal. As a personal trainer, I understand its importance and how it can make or break your progress. That's why I offer personalized meal recommendations as part of my all-in-one monthly program. With the help of apps, you can access your meal plan and track your nutrition right from your phone, making it easy to stay on track and make progress towards your fitness goals. Let me take care of the nutrition aspect so you can focus on your workouts and achieving your goals. If you would like, I can even accompany you to the grocery store to help you shop for healthier choices or set up an Instacart delivery right to your front door. Click the link below so we can schedule a free consultation to discuss further. We're excited to work with you and see you later.
All right, everybody, and we are back with Sharon D. Brown. How are you, Sharon, over there? Thank you for going to make that adjustment. Let me unmute you, and we're back in business. All right.
All right. Is that better?
Yes, much better. Sharon, you do this all the time. She actually has her own live podcast, and none of this stuff is happening on her podcast over there. So whatever platform she's using, it works perfectly for her. And over here, obviously, this works perfectly for me because I'm like, oh, I'm all free flow. And you're like, oh, what's going on? So even these kind of situations, believe it or not, can lend to triggers for people unless you've kind of mastered some things like you have. So going back, self-awareness we talked about for a moment. What was number 2? You said is 4 steps. What was number 2 for you?
Yeah, number 2 is sitting in silence. And when it comes to sitting in silence, that's a big one for people too, because in our society is go, 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 move, meeting this deadline. And especially sometimes in certain atmosphere or environments, it is required. And so in one sense, we have trained our bodies not to, I guess you say, heal itself.
That's good.
And so in sitting in silence, a lot of times what ends up happening when someone is introduced to it, they will, it's like, oh, I can't do this. But if you just sit, just do it for 5 seconds, 5 counts first, and then increase it, then you retrain your body. Because you know how they say the answers are within us?
Yes.
And then when it comes to certain things, your body knows how to heal itself, but it never rejuvenates itself really, because it's always moving.
Let's do, I'm big on role playing, Sharon. And so I really would like to just take 5 seconds and sit in silence. So
And
how
you
do you
can do
recommend
this,
that we sit?
Yeah, you can do this standing up or sitting down. And when you stand, if someone is standing, they would just stand with their feet flat on the ground. If you're sitting, just sit up straight with your back and your shoulders relaxed. And just take a deep breath from your belly. And then exhale slowly. And just breathe. And I silently did a count of 5.
And there's a noticeable difference whenever we do that. Like I noticed when I first sat up, things were cracking and crooking and popping. I was like, oh, I didn't even know I was that out of alignment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then when we did the breathing piece, which I do these breathing stress management exercises all the time myself, I play some birds chirping or some music just to get myself just mentally relaxed, right? And go away on a mental vacation. Sometimes I'll be in Hawaii, girl, and I'm right here in Charlotte.
Hey, those are the best ones.
So what I noticed though, when I just did it, was that sometimes we have tension even if we don't realize we have tension. So I wonder what that's about. Even the release of everything, I felt like, wow, I feel better. just because of
Yeah.
this exercise.
Yeah, and let me just take a moment too, because when we talk about self-care and we were talking about awareness, a lot of times people don't even know that they need it. And so let's talk about stress for a moment. Pretty much, I started saying probably the best way to describe stress is it's like an invisible barrier, an invisible that something you can't see, but
Right.
it's impacting you. It's the energy of something, even if you're not aware of it. I say they're like fender benders and accidents. Like we all know the accidents, the big
Right.
stuff that comes. But what we don't really pay attention to, let's say if somebody cut us off in traffic, like what is your really first, like be honest with yourself, your really first reaction, whatever that first reaction is to anything, that's where the stress point is. And even if we don't think, it's like, oh, that's not really bothering me, or I have my self-care, armor on. No. Even with your self-care armor, again, with stress, it's the energy of stress that impacts us. And this is why it's so important for us to have rituals and practices so that we can safeguard and continue to build, the self-care armor, because of the fact it day by day, because it's the subtleness. It's the subtleness of it. But when you have an understanding of what stress is, and especially what it does to the body, it really truly breaks down the nervous system. So we need practices to build up the nervous system. And when our nervous system is built up, it also helps in our immune system. And again, it's all about being well.
That's good. So the self-care armor is what she said. I think that was a profound point as well. And building up, even knowing that we don't necessarily know that that stress is causing us some hardship in our lives, but it's still doing some damage, whether we know it or not. And so you're saying, what I think I'm hearing you say, because this is very interesting, is that we can't fake our inner selves out. Is that what I'm hearing?
Mm. Oh, I love how you said that. Yes, we can't fake it. Because even though you can say positive words and affirmations, but if we're not going truly in, and especially in sitting with it, but I always say, don't sit too long.
Yeah, you're
But
like, oh, I say, yeah, I'm about to go under.
to allow it to release, so we can, regenerate our body, restore, reset. Because that's the piece that gets missing a lot. It's like we want to just continue just to move up, but we need to allow things to unfold as well. But yes, I just love the way you worded that.
That's good. Okay. I'm learning so much from you. That's what I'm saying. The even people that teach and so-called they're the experts in these areas and all of that, we all also have to take time to just sit and learn and be ever willing to learn. So I'm never going to arrive in life. I just don't believe in that. I believe that I can always learn something from someone at some point on my journey. And I am learning from you today. So thank you so much for being here. Listen, we're talking with Sharon D. Brown. I want to make sure people know how they can stay connected with you because I want to give that multiple times throughout the broadcast. We're bringing balance to the world today, everybody, through the Kim Jacobs Show with Sharon D. Brown, our self-care expert today. And so, Sharon, how can they stay connected with you so far?
Yeah, pretty much you can go to my Instagram page. Is I am Sharon D. Brown. And you can also follow me on Facebook as Sharon D. Brown. You probably have to put in Self-Caregiver because I have a very common name.
Yeah, I know. That's amazing. Me too, Kim. I'm like, y'all can put in whatever you want. Y'all need to find this Kim. I am the only one that's created in the likeness that God created me to be. You're the only Sharon Brown that He intended for you to be, no matter if there are millions out there. So we're unique. Sharon D.
Exactly.
Brown. Sharon D. Brown. Okay, listen, we're going to take a commercial break and hear from another one of our episode sponsors, which is Silver Shield Security. And we will be right back.
I have peace of mind with Silver Shield Security, which has been protecting my family and home, along with servicing the Carolinas for over a decade. Silver Shield Security knows the importance of convenience and safety. Whether you live in an apartment or home or run a business, they are here to protect you from unwanted intrusions and fires. Call now at 704-440-4688 or visit the website at www.silvershield-security.com. You can use my promo code #ToneX and get 1/2 off your installation price. Don't forget to ask about the new no money down options. Let Silver Shield Security help to give you peace of mind, just like me and my family, and keep your business safe.
We're back and we're talking with Sharon D. Brown about the importance of self-care. We've talked so far about self-awareness, and we've also talked about sitting in silence. I love that one. Just being silent. And sometimes I know I just go and I sit at the kitchen table. No one's downstairs and talking to me, and I'm just sitting there, just sitting in a moment. I don't have any distractions. The dog's not barking. Everybody's doing whatever they're doing, and I'm just sitting in silence. And for some reason, it's like God pours into me so much in those moments that I really always need like a notepad or something near me, because finally I'm clear enough to hear what he's trying to impart to me.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons it's so important to sit in silence, because that's where we can get the downloads.
Wow. Okay. I feel so rejuvenated from this session today. This is, I said that there are so many, it's interesting, and maybe you can tell me your thoughts on this too. It shows like this, hey, self-care and balance and work-life balance and trying to be better and version of yourself. And all that. I said, if we were kicking each other, or so I was over there pulling your bun piece off the front and you had my hair to all kind of stuff, then that gets a lot of traction and attention. But my one child tells me, Mom, you got to be a little more controversial. I'm like, no, I just need to be who God created me to be. And whoever God has assigned to me is fine. It's fine. But don't get me wrong. I would be lying if I wouldn't say that I want the masses to be impacted, because that's what I believe God has also called me to, But I find it interesting that when it's a positive kind of situation and you're trying to share joy, love, happiness, peace, and prosperity and all of that, is not necessarily always like, yay, well celebrated. Do you find that to be the case?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that too. And then what happens is, the unfortunate thing is that usually either where someone experienced something, and then that's when they will see the need to become more aware. But to be honest, we can have the cheat sheet. It doesn't, like stop things from happening, of course, but I at least say it can give us some tools that can help, or either to help us surrender, meaning whatever is the divine intervention that may be for us, that we are be able to accept that too. And so, but yeah, it's either one of those two things.
Yeah. So sometimes it's something that pushes us to need to learn more because of personal experiences. Well, I think I've had some personal experiences that I wouldn't wish on anybody. I would not, some things that I've experienced in my life, I just would never wish on even people that would even, I guess, consider themselves my enemy, even though I don't consider anybody my enemy. I think that I literally believe that the enemy may use certain people to do certain things, but nobody in this world is my personal enemy, in my opinion, at all. I just don't view a person as my enemy. That's my personal philosophy, because I think that we all can be used by whoever we allow ourselves to be used by. Anyway, so I have a lot of my own theories. Don't always align with everyone's thoughts, but because I love everybody. I love God's people, and I believe that all of us are used in some regard for some good. We may make some bad choices and bad decisions and things that happen along our journey that we're not proud of, but at the end of the day, we're still a child of God. And so that's what
and we all need each other. And so in some form and fashion, and that kind of goes back to what I was talking about when it comes to the activations, You know, even though people may look at triggers in a negative way, but also what they really do, they just reveal certain parts of ourselves that may need nurturing a little bit more, or may need expansion, or we may need to, you know, get better at something. That's
Yeah.
basically what it is, or just, you know, clean up some stuff that may have been there that we didn't even know that was there.
Yeah. And then different triggers can bring out some pieces of us. I'm
Mhm.
not talking about the whole world, I'm talking about Kim, that I'll be like, whoa, I didn't even know I was capable of. So that's why some situations, in my opinion, it's better to separate yourself completely from those so that you don't, because sometimes you don't know what the
Mhm.
outcome may be, but you don't want to put yourself in a position to find out.
Mhm.
Even though you're like, I know I would never.
Yeah.
And that's what I would think I would say. But then
Mhm.
certain things trigger you, and you're like, oh, I know you ain't messing with my key. You know, and you don't want to be playing like you don't know what you might pause. So you're like,
This
okay,
is true.
that's for us to go on about our go on now about your business because you don't have interest at heart. And I know that now. And so as a result of that, I need to make an adjustment so we can all
Yeah.
keep on loving each other and some
And
go.
see, and that's where it's at. And that's just a part of self-care in making the adjustments. So there was the self-awareness. You know, have the forethought. I guess you could say that's when it's sitting in silence because they kind of came to you because you had to take a moment to like, what is this? You
What
know?
is happening to me? Hello. This is so good. What's step number 3? You talked about self-awareness. You talked about sitting in silence. Now, talk to us about
And
number
yeah, step 3 is pretty much deep rest. Some people may say it's similar to sitting in silence because it depends on how you sit in silence.
6. Okay.
But with the deep rest, it really is, you know, whether you're actually lying down, but it really is allowing your body
Mm.
to really rest, you know? One of the practices that I really love, and I fell in love with it when I first was introduced, is restorative yoga.
Okay.
And it is just one of those things that there's really not any movement. Because, like, most of the time when people think of yoga, they think of going in different poses. You
Mhm.
do with restorative yoga, but the key is you may be in one pose ideally for 15 to 20 minutes. You know how earlier we were talking about, you know, like if your body can stay still long enough, it can
Yeah.
rejuvenate itself. Restorative yoga is one of those things that will do it. I mean, there are some other things that people can do too, you know, when it comes to the deep rest, but that's just one way that someone can do it because we need for the body to be able to really like get in touch with itself, to
Right.
undo whatever the day, the years, the decades of things that it has endured, you know? And so it's giving your body permission to be able to just rejuvenate.
So in this restorative yoga, are you like I can tell you in Pilates or whatever I did, I forget what I did. I did some kind of yoga like thing, right? And everyone's in there. You're finding the center of your earth. I have my leg up. We're on the thing. And then I'm sitting there, Sharon, and I'm like, wow, how rude is that? That somebody would just be snoring at that level in this
Mhm.
room. And I mean, I'm talking about like I said, this is wrong. This is wrong on every level for a person to be snoring like that in a whole class. You know you're in a class. Girl, it was me. Sharon, it was me snoring, and I'm sitting here judging the person that's snoring, and it's me talking to myself in my sleep. I'm disturbing the class. I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my
So
God.
pretty
Yeah.
much what that means is that your mind, your body, and your soul needed it. It needed to unfold, it needed to release. And it really allows you to release tension in your body and in your mind. And it's kind of one of those things you gave yourself permission to do something that was needed.
Yeah.
And we tell people that sometimes you may end up falling asleep. Sometimes some people may end up crying because it can release a lot of emotion as well. But
Wow.
yeah.
That's interesting. So another thing, and I see your comment, Kevin, you said laugh my butt off. Okay. He's like, that is funny. And please, in the studio audience, if you've ever had a moment where you've fallen asleep in an exercise class or did something funny or out of character in an exercise class, please put it in the comment section. I love to hear it because I have lots of examples. Yes. One time I moved the exercise bike when you're in the cycling class, right? And I literally was trying to just move my bike like everybody else. They were moving their bikes. And so, first of all, I had on the wrong gear. I had on some shorts with a pinstripe shirt. They come in, they had on goggles and butt pads, and like they were like Armstrong, ready to go. They're getting ready to ride a bike. I'm in there like, what kind of class is this? Then I go to move the bike, Sharon, and guess what I do? I scrape the floor. I'm like, it's supposed to be tilted. I'm like, shit. Hey, okay. I need all the self-care help I can get. That's what I'll say. But deep rest, when we do that and we're going into, are you saying sometimes even just when we're going to sleep at night that we get into that?
No, it's different than going to sleep. Because even when you're going to sleep, sometimes your mind can still kind of be running sometimes, even though you may not, realize it. But with the deep rest, it is more of an intentional rest. And like I said, it can be kind of similar to the sitting in silence, in which some people may equate sitting in silence with meditation. But with the deep rest, it is really, I guess you say you're more focused on your entire body. Like, for instance, in restorative yoga, we use all kind of prompts like bolsters and pillows and things of that sort. And so it allows your body to really relax in a certain pose. And so again, like I said, that's really just one example of how someone can be in a deep breath. And you can just lay down, but your intention isn't to go to sleep.
Wow.
But it may be, but your body may need to, you know what I mean? But that's not your intention. But it's almost like teaching yourself not to be reactive and to allow your body to just be, because a lot of times it's like, oh, I got to get up and do something. Oh, let me move. And, because again, with this society, it's just always move, go, but sometimes we need to pause for a moment
and take a break. Okay, so we're going to pause for a moment and take a quick commercial break, and then we will be right back after this break talking with Sharon D. Brown. We'll be right back. Wow.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
All right, everyone, we're back and we're talking with Sharon D. Brown right here on the Kim Jacobs Show about how we can better balance our lives through proper self-care. We have our episode sponsors that we'd like to thank. We have attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm, and they're located in the Alabama area, the Richmond, Virginia area, and the Charlotte, North Carolina area. We also have Silver Shield Security. You can learn more about them at silvershield-security.com. And they offer state-of-the-art security systems and also no contracts. That's a big deal. I think that's huge for a lot of different places require that. And then we also have confidencetones.com. And to learn more about Confidence Tones, you definitely want to reach out to Dr. Joe D. Bear, America's top health coach. And her phone number is 800-820-0584. You also got to hear from Ivan today with MajorPT.com. MajorPT.com. He's lost about 100 pounds and is taking on about 5 clients. So make sure that you reach out to him as well, MajorPT.com. All right, so Sharon, how can people stay connected with you again? I want to make sure people know how they can connect with you, learn some of these techniques. We talked about 3 of them so far, and we have a 4th one to discuss. But how do they stay connected?
Yeah, pretty much they can follow me on Instagram at I am Sharon D. Brown, or they can go to Facebook.
Okay, perfect. And that static came back. I don't know what's happening with that static. It came back though. All right, but I can't control it on this end. But you whatever you did with those earphones, it worked beautifully. All right, so we've talked so far about the importance of having self-awareness. We talked about sitting in silence. We talked about deep rest. And now what's the 4th one?
The 4th one is movement or action.
Okay.
And so when it comes to movement,
go back and readjust those headphones because it didn't. I'm gonna move it for a second. So you all, I'm gonna put you backstage for a second, but listen, you all in the virtual studio audience, put your comments, your thoughts. What are you walking away with from some of the 3 things that she's shared today already, which is phenomenal. I'm talking about this is some great expert advice that Sharon D. Brown is sharing with us today. Things that can just make us be better in our lives. Imagine us pursuing our goals and our dreams and our talents being put to use with proper self-care, with some of the tips that she shared with us alone today already. Things will just go hopefully a lot smoother, even though we've run into some bumps and obstacles along the way. But having these tips to fall back on will make things so much better for our lives. So I'm excited. And I see you, Mackenzie, saying you're here for all of the tips. And I believe that you're getting quite a few of them today. And I saw a comment from, you said, please stop. I'm laughing too hard. Well, yeah. When I fell asleep in that yoga class and was snoring at that level, it was a mess and embarrassing to say the least. All right. I see you, Lady Tanya Anderson. And her book, 21-Day Prayer Journey and Challenge, helps people be able to chart some things out on how you can, for 21 days, get back in alignment from a prayer perspective. So check out Tanya Anderson's book. We're going to bring Sharon D. Brown back in because we have to hear these tips clearly. So Sharon, talk to us some more. Unmute yourself and let's try it again here. All right.
Most definitely.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. And so with action and movement, pretty much what that is like, okay, you have all of this self-awareness, you have these downloads, you come to these aha moments and revelations. Now, what are you going to do? That's where the action and movement comes into play. Now, the other piece is movement can be in a physical movement. Let's say when it comes to exercise, let's say you want to lose weight, or you have high blood pressure or heart disease and things like that. What are the things that you are doing? What are the actions that you are taking so you can be well? And so that's where all of that comes from, because having the knowledge of something, that's great, but are you taking the steps? Are you moving in the right direction, taking the action so that you can continue to be well? So that's where self-care comes into play in the movement piece of it.
Wow. Okay. So I can hear myself on your thing for some reason too. But anyway, the thing that I think I'm understanding is once you've had a chance to understand your self-awareness, once you've had a chance to understand your self-awareness, then you've had a chance to kind of sit in silence and really have some downloads and some things that are important that we need to know and be imparted into our spirit. Then making sure that we have some deep intentional rest is all that I think I'm hearing so far. Then now it's time to get up and take some action. Okay, so I'm gonna unmute you because we're gonna do that until we get this right. Go.
Yes, yes, yes. That's definitely what it's all about. Got to take the action. And that's with anything in life. And again, when it comes to self care, it's not just about where you are at home, it's wherever you are, period. Where it's home, work, in society, wherever you are, these are things that you can do.
I can't hear you properly. So it's like too staticky. But anyway, let's go and see if we can pull this audio, this comment from our studio audience. And it says Mother Harper, she's in her 80s and she's commenting. She says, great show again. Because again, when we can hear you, it's some phenomenal tips that's happening. I don't know why the static and stuff is happening. Maybe just make one or two more adjustments over there because it was perfect for one phase of it. Yes, getting that proper rest for me is key. I started exercising again on a regular basis, 2 to 3 days a week. Look at you, Lady Anderson, getting that body moving. Yeah, same here. I've been more intentional. I've been working a lot with my son because I'm like, if he's going to be coaching people, I want him to coach me too. So I've lost about 20 pounds at this point. And sometimes I don't even see it until I realize that I'm looking at some of my previous pictures and images, and I'm like, "You did lose some weight, girl. Go on with your bad stuff, right?" All right, let me unmute you. Go ahead. So Sharon,
Yes.
that's much better.
Oh,
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay. So Sharon, let's see. I am enjoying this conversation, and so we're not discouraged at all by any glitches because guess what? That's just the enemy's way, in my opinion, of trying to prevent us from getting some quality information. So people say health is wealth. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, pretty much when it comes to health is wealth, it means that in order for us to accomplish the things that we really need to accomplish, we really need to take care of ourselves. We say that like whatever it is that we want to do in life, but if our health and our health meaning our mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually, if it's not, I don't want to say on point, but if we're not addressing it, then we're not going to have the skills. We're not going to have the characteristics. We're not going to have the patient. It's like you having the patient with the technical stuff that's going on here. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like we won't be able to have the things that we need when the storm come. And
that's
so that is where it's at. And to be able to be open to have conversations, because even like financially, we was like, oh, well, I want to make the money and this is where I'm going. But are
right.
you open to hearing things about money? Because I've recently learned more things about money. Like now I'm also like I was about to say something else, but a financial professional. And I'm like, oh my, there's so much. It's not just to have the money mindset, it's how money works. And
Yeah,
so again, how can we be wealthy, but we're not educating ourselves? How can we be wealthy? And when I say that, educating ourselves when it comes to food, educating ourselves of how money works, educating ourselves of whatever the thing is, how can we be, wealth? How can we have wealth if we're not even healthy in our mind, in our
that's
spirit,
right. So it
you
all
know?
links together. It all links together in some regard. You're focusing on self-care, but then you're also focusing on spiritual care. Then you're also focusing on your mental care. Then you're also focusing on your financial care because you wear a lot of different hats in those regards. And like you said, you are a financial self-care expert too. I would consider that to be the case.
Hmm.
That would be a good term. I'm your agent now, a financial self-care expert. Uh, and so from a financial, I see somebody actually said, oh, Lady Anderson said, yes, prayer and meditation refreshes me. Yes, it does. It refreshes me too. Speaking from a spiritual perspective, because she is a pastor's wife, and there are a lot of Mother Harper is a church mother, and different people on here that are spiritual. And even Kevin Sharp, his mom is one of our church mothers, and different things that's happened from a spiritual perspective. Why is it that people why is it that people look at yoga as something that is against some spirituality stuff? I don't understand. I don't understand it. So I would love to know if you know the answer to it, because I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I would just say there's different schools of thoughts when it
Okay.
comes to that. But if anything, yoga is all about getting in touch with you. When we get in touch with ourselves, it's really our connection, to the divine, to the universe, to God. And so I think that just mainly because there's just different understanding of it, that people just may not have a clear understanding. But at the end of the day, yoga is about connection to self.
That's
And
good
again,
wording. I like that.
we need all of those things, what I just said, in order to get there, in order to connect with yourself.
Right. Well, Pastor Selwyn and Lady Cassandra Davis said, oh, they say Sandy, Selwyn and Sandy. That's how you know them. Your buddies.
Mhm.
They came on and said hello to you as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
They said they're so proud of you. So, so proud of you. Thank you all for being here. If you missed the episode yesterday with Pastor and Lady Cassandra Dave, Pastor Selwyn and Lady Cassandra Davis, make sure you check that out on our YouTube channel. It was a wonderful, enlightening episode as well, and great insight about who God created them to be. All right, so from a financial perspective, you say that that's important too. I want us to talk about that for a few minutes. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, for the most part, if we're not taking care of ourselves, physically, and then that's going to impact, how we're thinking and what are we doing. And then also, let's say, for instance, if someone has a heart attack or stroke, even high blood pressure or diabetes, financially, that's going to impact you. And we really hadn't been taught of like how money is used. It's like, oh, we just think we're supposed to make the money, but what do we do once we make it? How should we invest it? What happens to money? We think about tax advantages as only for the people who have, millions of dollars. No, it's wherever we are, so that when we have millions of dollars ourselves, that we can already be in a very good place. So it's setting ourselves up for success in every area in our life. And one thing I just want to say too, because you were saying, like self-care this and self-care that, that is also true, because we cannot separate ourselves. Every part of ourself is going to follow us. And when it comes to jobs, like for people who have a 9-to-5 job somewhere, in that sometimes it's like, oh, you can't bring your home life into your work. It's there.
It's hard to prevent that whole, I call that the spillover effect type of thing. And if you have stuff going on at home, it's going to impact you in your workplace. So what do you recommend for employers to help prevent employee burnout? Because that might be something you can speak to.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's one of the things that I specialize in, is in educating, corporations about that, about stress and burnout. And the main thing is to acknowledge it and to allow the support in the way that the person may need it, and especially before it becomes a crisis. Because like, let's say, for instance, someone working, 12-hour shifts, are there adequate breaks? To make sure you have the manpower in order to do that, because if not, it's really wear and tear on the body. And our society really has accepted, oh, with these type of jobs, they're stressful and you get sick. No, if someone needs to go use the bathroom, then make sure.
If I have to go use the bathroom and you say no because I'm at work, I'd be like, well, we have a cleanup on our because you need to go for sure.
Yeah. So
at
it's
least at my
really
age anyway. I don't know about everybody else. I can only tell you about me.
Yeah, it's really giving the employees the tools that they need in order for them to be successful at their job. Because anytime that anything happens, is that, again, think about it, that it's interrupting the nervous system. Anything that interrupts the nervous system, then it's going to impact of how we see the world and how we react to the world as well. And so what can we do to pretty much allow people, to pretty much be stable, and to really look at their policies and what they have in place. And there would never be a total balance because things are just always changing, but I would just say be ready for the change.
That's good. You've shared such significant tips and advice today, and even in the midst of any technical stuff, I told you things happen on CNN and other major networks all the time. You see people's faces, it's like, okay, things happen, and they keep right on going. They're like, sorry for the technical difficulties, and they keep on going. It's not a major catastrophe. So I'm grateful for the 4 tips that you shared today, and I want you to recap those 4 again quickly for us. Tip number 1 was,
I know it pretty much. Tip number 1 is self-awareness, and that's I'm about to say introspection, reflection, and those aha moments. And the other one is sitting in silence, and that's in whatever way that's for you. And the other one is deep breaths. And then the last one is movement and action. And I always like to say we need the last 3 in order to really benefit us for the first one, for the self-awareness, because the self-awareness is so many different levels. And even though we didn't go deep, and sometimes it's a part of us that we need to recognize ourselves, like the part of us that we may need to work on, or the parts of us that's really hurtful from other things. And even, again, it's parts of ourselves that we don't even realize that exist. And so it's those dark things. And so that's another reason why we need, the sitting in silence, the deep breaths, and the movement and action to really help elevate. And I guess you could say to really make us self-awareness in a much of a positive light as possible.
Very good synopsis again. Listen, we're going to hear from Jeremiah J. Jacobs, and then we're going to come back and we're going to hear a closing comment from Sharon D. Brown. So Sharon, adjust your mic one more time over there, and because it's some good stuff you said, but I want you to adjust it one more time. On tomorrow, we have another guest that's going to be joining us, Dr. Jo D. Bear. Actually, she's one of our episode sponsors with confidencetones.com. And she's also a new author of 21 Days to Your Best You. And you don't want to miss that episode. She's going to be talking about 21 days to your best you. How do we become our best selves? We're going to hear from Dr. Jo D. Bear tomorrow. And at this time, we're going to hear from Jeremiah J. Jacobs about his services that he offers.
A marketing specialist, a web designer, and also a web developer. Odds are you're a business owner watching this video. If so, you may be struggling with digital marketing and or building the right website for your business. But that's where I come in, to help you build a website that you're proud of and also hit your target audience. So let me help you build the better business you deserve. For examples of websites that I've worked on, check out my website, jeremiahjjacobs.com. That website in itself is also an example because I built it, and it's an example of a one-pager. To get more information on the plans that I offer, contact me at info@jeremiahjjacobs.com. I repeat, info@jeremiahjjacobs.com. That is my email, not a website. So hopefully you guys have a great day, and I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.
Okay, that's actually one of my sons, and he sponsored this episode as well. So I appreciate them taking the time to pour into the Kim Jacobs Show and to sponsor. But also he's taking clients, and some of the clients that I've referred over to him are quite happy. So make sure you check out jeremiahjjacobs.com. He has a whole formal presentation and proposal, everything for you. I'm like, oh, Jeremiah, you're doing a great job. All right, so listen, people have reached out to ask how you can support and pour into the Kim Jacobs Show. I want you to know that you can definitely Cash App, and it's $ Kim Jacobs Inc. You can also do PayPal at paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. or Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show, or just join our Patreon membership, patreon.com/the Kim Jacobs Show. And the proceeds go to helping the program come on every single day at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anytime you see these daily shows that are national, internationally syndicated shows, they are fully funded by production and everything is paid for. In these cases, the Kim Jacobs Show is only paid for by community members like yourselves. So thank you so much for any contributions that you give to the broadcast. All right. So Sharon D. Brown, how do they stay connected with you one more time?
Yeah, definitely on Instagram at Sharon. I am Sharon D. Brown, or Facebook, Sharon D. Brown, Self-Caregiver.
I hear that I keep muting myself to try to make sure that your volume sounds better, but it's not working. No matter how I'm slicing it, it still sounds static. But I was just going to say, I hear too that you are a baker and that you won a state competition, second place, I think, or something. So that means you had some serious baking skills to be in some second place state fair type of thing. Yeah. What did you bake?
Yeah, I have baked, I'm trying to think, was it the chocolate chip cookies? Actually, I think it was the wedding cookies. That's what it was.
First of all, I didn't know you bake chocolate chip cookies. When we meet, I want a warm chocolate chip cookie, no nuts, with a scoop of ice cream. Forget all the health stuff with Ivan for the moment. I'm coming to get that.
Hey, sounds all good. Yeah. But yeah, baking is one of my things. And I had stopped baking at one time. And then one of my friends found out that I liked baking. It's like, oh, Sharon, you got to bake me some cookies. And so that's one thing that I've been doing.
All right. Well, I think because we're gonna close out anyway, but I just wanted to at least hear your final thought in a clear mode, but it's too staticky, so it doesn't sound clear. Are you able to make any more adjustments over there? No. Okay. Well, we've had plenty that we've heard from Sharon D. Brown today, and when you were able to hear it clearly, I can promise you that if you apply the tips that she shared throughout today's broadcast, life can only be better for us. Let's see. I see. Please put walnuts in mine, Andrea said. Please. And in my chocolate chip cookies. Okay. And then BG Howard said, unfortunately, there is often the adverse mental and or psychological impacts that many fall into recognize may require healing. That's good. There is often the adverse mental and or psychological impacts that many fail to recognize may require some healing. I love that. And Lady Anderson said, thank you so much. She also said, Kim, when this last conversation and statement reminds me of your phrase, balance. Yes. All right. All right, everybody. We had a wonderful time today hearing from Sharon D. Brown. Sharon, I would love for you to come back and be one of our Freestyle Friday experts, which is on self-care. We'll get the whole audio thing. I don't know whatever is happening but you have a lot to say. And we bring on experts on Fridays. And I would love to invite you to be one of our self-care experts, if you would.
Oh, yes. Definitely. I love sharing all things self-care.
It sounds like you're doing it on purpose, but it's not. You're like, I love all things self-care. It's fun. But all right, everybody. I see you, Kairos, and thank you so much for being here as well. And all of you that tuned in today to the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you, Sharon, for being an outstanding, informative guest. And I will definitely be having you back. Y'all stay connected with Sharon at Sharon D. Brown on Instagram. I am Sharon D. Brown. And also stay connected with her on Facebook. She said you may have to put in self-care as well, but definitely Sharon D. Brown, and you'll be able to find her and add the word self-care to it on Facebook. All right. Thank you so much, Sharon. And
thank you.
Now you're clear. You're clear as you can be right now. Say your closing point.
Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone, just take the time to take care of yourself. Put yourself first, because that is how you will be able to support others and give onto the world.
I love it. I'm so glad it cleared up for you to be able to make that final point. Amazing. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today and have a great rest of your day. We'll see you again tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye. Thank you
Stay
for tuning in
backstage.
to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.